Good day, everyone.
We're here to present our research entitled Motivational Drivers and Influencing Factors in Generative AI-Assisted Learning, a study for first-year teacher education students at Mindoro State University, Bungabong Campus. I am Jamaica Nicole M. Dibilan.
I am Jeremy Sagyarme.
I am Angelica Montelayo.
And I am Sunshine Excelda.
Chapter 1: The Problem and its Background.
The rise of digital technology has greatly influenced education, with artificial intelligence emerging as a key innovation. AI refers to machine simulating human intelligence to enhance learning, reasoning, and perception. One of its major benefits is personalized learning, which addresses the diverse needs of students more effectively than traditional classrooms. AI system can analyze students' performance in real time and adapt learning materials to support individual process. A notable advancement is generative AI, which uses machine learning to create content like text, images, and audio. It enhances interactive and personalized learning by offering immediate feedback and helping students complete academic tasks more efficiently. However, understanding what motivates students to use generative AI is crucial for maximizing its educational benefits. Many students turn to generative AI due to difficulties in understanding lessons or to save time and effort. Recognizing this motivation can help develop more effective and engaging learning strategies. However, reliance on AI may impact critical thinking and raise concern about academic integrity. Thus, examining how students use generative AI and its effect on learning is important for shaping educational practices and policies. In the Philippines, the Department of Education is exploring a policy on the responsive use of AI in schools, recognizing both its benefit and potential for misuse. To address these opportunities and challenges, this study will qualitatively explore the extent of generative AI use among students for academic purposes, the factors and motivation driving this use, and the correlation between the factors and motivations with the extent use of generative AI in learning.
Statement of the problem. This study aims to determine the factors and motivation of the students of Mindoro State University Bungabong Campus in learning with generative artificial intelligence. Specifically, this study aims to answer the following questions. 1. What is the extensive use of the factors that students faces to consider the use of generative AI in academic purposes in terms of 1. Lack of understanding, 2. Difficulty of the subject, 3. Limited resources, 2. What is the extent of motivation in learning of students with generative artificial intelligence in the following? In terms of 1. Learning task, 2. Time saving, 3. Ease of use, and 3. What is the extent use of generative AI in academic purpose of the students? 1. Constructing essays, 2. Solving math problems. 4 is what is the correlation between factors of students in learning with generative AI with the extensive use of generative AI. 5 is what is the correlation between motivations of students in learning with generative AI with the extent use of generative AI. 6. After this study, the researchers will propose an intervention program such as seminar, workshop, or awareness and campaign that will educate on the ethical, responsible, and effective use of generative AI for academic purpose. This aims to guide students in maximizing AI tools for learning while avoiding misuse or over-dependence. Let's now move on to the scope and limitations and delimitations of the study. The scope of this study is to understand the factors and reasons that influence the students' learning process and experiences when they are using AI generative tools. The study will investigate the students' perspectives and experiences as well as the positive and negative impacts on their learning process. The study will be limited to the first year of College of CTE, which is the College of Teacher Education only. The limitation of the study was that the study may not be applicable to all student populations or educational environment. Self-reported data collection survey may create bias. The findings may have limited long-term applicability due to rapid advancement of generative AI technology. Participants may have varying access to and experience with generative AI tools, which could influence outcomes. And for the study's delimitation criteria were that the study would not look into the effects of generative AI on educators or instructors. It will not address the ethical concerns about the use of AI generative tools in education. The study will focus solely on the students' experiences and perspectives without consideration given to the impact of institutional policy or curriculum development on AI adoption.
For our theoretical framework, this study examines how motivation and cognitive engagement influence academic performance in online learning environments. And to understand this, it integrates the key educational and psychological theories that explains learners' behavior and learning outcomes. Firstly is the self-determination theory or SDT by DC and Ryan 1985, which the psychological needs, autonomy and competence and relatedness, which are essential for motivations when students feel in control of their learning and believe in their ability to succeed and feel connected to others. They are more likely to be engaged and perform better academically. In the context of learning, where self-regulation is crucial, meeting these needs enhances learning outcomes. Secondly is the generative learning theory by Wittrock, highlights the meaningful learning occurs when students actively generate and connect new information with prior knowledge. Through strategies like self-explaining, students deepen understanding. Therefore, this theory helps explain how cognitive engagement with tools like AI generative can enhance knowledge construction and academic performance. Thirdly is the cognitive constructivism by Piaget, focuses on how learners build knowledge through assimilation and accommodation based on prior experiences. This approach supports active and exploratory learning, especially relevant in digital platforms where learners interact with content independently. And in synthesis, this study draws on SDT to explain students' motivations, mainly intrinsic as they use generative AI to achieve higher academic performance. And at the same time, generative learning theory and cognitive constructivism highlights the role of active engagement and understanding content. Together, these theories demonstrate that both motivation and active learning are essential in maximizing the benefits of generative AI in education.
Conceptual framework. This framework shows how the dependent variables, the factors stand in for the motivation that encourage people to use generative AI. The 1.1 learning task motivation, which measures how motivated people are to use ChatGPT to help with learning tasks like comprehending difficult ideas or finishing projects, is one of these factors that reflects the motivations or incentive that push people to use AI. 1.2 Time saving, the degree to which users are motivated by the desire to use AI to save time on their professional or academic tasks. And 1.3 Ease of use. User choice to utilize ChatGPT in CC is influenced by its accessible and user-friendly interface, while challenges or barriers that may impact the effective use of ChatGPT is the 2.1 lack of understanding, which pertains about the study look into how teaching strategies affect how students understand difficult subjects. 2.2 difficulty of the subject comes next, which is the influence of the subject matter's degree of difficulty on the user's capacity to use for help. Finally, 2.3 lack of resources, the extent to which a user's ability to use AI is impacted by inadequate access to essential resources such as internet connectivity and suitable devices. Moreover, students using generative AI affects how it contributes to the extent use of generative AI in academic purposes. It also shows the possible intervention that can be done to by seminars and counseling about how to use generative AI wisely. Chapter 2, Review of Related Literature and Studies.
Lack of understanding. To begin with, a lack of understanding is a key factor behind students' reliance on generative AI. When students struggle to grasp concept, they often turn to AI for answers rather than engaging deeply with the material. Moreover, those lacking metacognitive skills may view AI as a quick solution, overlooking the long-term benefits of active learning and critical thinking. Nevertheless, AI can still enhance learning by providing flexible environment and real-time feedback, which help improve comprehension and motivation. Difficulty of the subject. In addition, the perceived difficulty of certain subject often drives students to use AI. When faced with complex topics and cognitive overload, students are more likely to rely AI for simplified explanation and solutions. Furthermore, the instant assistance AI offers can be more appealing than waiting for teacher support, especially for under tight deadlines. For instance, in subjects like math or computer science, AI tools can guide students step by step, although this may limit the development of their own problem-solving abilities.
Limited resources. According to Jiang Shen et al. 2023, another contributing factor is the lack of adequate resources in schools. When teachers and institutions are unable to provide sufficient learning materials, students turn to AI for additional academic supports. And consequently, researchers Pavel et al. 2023 explores that AI serves as a valuable alternative, particularly in under-resourced environments. And in fact, research has shown that AI tools can help make education more inclusive by supporting students with diverse learning needs. Learning tasks. On 2020, Zhang Leng et al. Emphasized students use AI to assist with various academic tasks. Not only does AI make it easier to find information and generate ideas, but it also enhances creativity, aids in translation, and supports design and writing processes. And as a result, students become more engaged and inspired in their learning. And additionally, Lemna added that AI can tailor educational content to suit individual needs, further improving academic performance.
Time saving. Equally important is the benefit of time saving. In today's fast-paced academic environment, students often juggle multiple responsibilities. Therefore, the efficiency AI offers, such as quickly generating summaries or initial drafts, is highly attractive by Archana et al. 2020 and D et al. 2023. In this way, students can allocate their time more effectively, focusing on other tasks while still meeting academic deadlines. Ease of use. Lastly, the ease of use of AI tools greatly influences their popularity among students. Since many AI platforms are user-friendly and accessible across devices, they lower the barrier for use, even among students with limited tech skills by Henry Dang 2020. Chapter 3, The Research Methodology.
For our research design, This study uses a quantitative descriptive research design to explore the factors and motivations behind students' use of generative AI in academic settings. The goal is to measure and describe patterns in how students engage with AI. To collect relevant data, the researchers develop a structured survey questionnaires aligned with the research objective. The design is very appropriate as it allows the researchers to statistically describe students' motivation and factors, their usage, and the extent use of it in the academic purposes. For our research locale, survey will be conducted for the respondents. This will be held in a facility in Mindoro State University, Bungabong campus, with of course the permission from the head teacher of that department, where the respondents are schooling and will be comfortable because of the familiarity of the surrounding.
The population for this study will be the first-year college students of College of Teacher Education from Mindoro State University, Bungabong campus. And the target respondents will be recruited by the researchers face-to-face to complete a survey questionnaire. Purposive sampling will be used for this study, and the researchers will specifically choose the BS Ed major in mathematics, major in science, and English to be the respondents of this study.
For the research instrument, the researcher in this study uses the following instrument to collect all of the data needed to solve the study's specific problems. The data was collected using the survey questionnaire prepared by the researchers. During the survey questionnaire process, the researcher collects the respondents' responses. The researcher study, which is the motivational drivers and influencing factors in generative AI assisted learning for first-year student or College of Teacher Education at Minso Bungabong campus, led to the development of instrument. Each of the 5 main questions has 3 developing questions. The respondents answer these questions using the following 5-point Likert scale, which is the never, rarely, sometimes, often, and always.
Data gathering procedure. Before conducting the study, the researchers will secure a permit from the Dean of College of Education, and the researchers will conduct a survey questionnaire validated by the professor of the subject. Then the questionnaire will be distributed. Also, the researchers will explain to the respondents what is their study all about and the importance of the respondents' response to the study. Additionally, the researchers will clarify some terms to the respondents so that they can answer the questionnaire with full knowledge of their responsibility as the subject of the study. And the researchers will request the respondents to answer with all honesty. After the respondents answered the questionnaire, the researchers will collect and will tally the data for interpretation.
Let's now move on to the data analysis procedure. The data gathered from the survey questionnaires will be systematically organized and categorized to ensure clarity and coherence. The responses will be tallied and presented using tables of Microsoft Excel. Each item will be analyzed using descriptive statistics, particularly frequency counts and percentage, to interpret the responses of the participants. Similar, open-ended responses will be grouped and common themes will be identified to support the quantitative findings. These steps will help ensure that all gathered data are meaningfully interpreted in relation to the research questions. The data analysis strategy. The study will employ a mixed method data analysis strategy to comprehensively interpret the responses. Quantitative data from closed-ended questions will be analyzed using descriptives such as frequency and percentage distribution to determine trends and patterns in the participants' responses. Meanwhile, qualitative data from open-ended questions will be analyzed thematically, identifying recurring ideas and insights relevant to the study's objectives. This combination of statistical and thematic analysis is expected to provide a holistic understanding of the perceptions and experiences of the respondents.
That concludes our presentation.
Thank you.